everybody, so today we're going to be talking about makeup for photos, and really it just depends on what kind of photos you're going to be taking. Today I'm just going to be taking photos outside with natural sunlight, and I also have some tips for you. Okay, so the first thing I did was I exfoliated my face with an Aveeno exfoliator. I'll link it down below. But you're always gonna want to prep your skin no matter what. You want to moisturize, you know, exfoliate, tone, anything. I don't tone because I feel like it kind of dries out my skin. I kind of just like to exfoliate, then do a mask, and now I'm gonna moisturize with some Cetaphil moisturizer. You're gonna want to make sure to moisturize every little crevice on your face, especially under. I especially like to do like under my eyes because I feel like I get really dry, and I have sensitive skin, so it's like just bad. I have sensitive, dry / oily skin. I don't know, it's just crazy. So also moisturize your neck, because sometimes, you know, you bring down the foundation. And I got this moisturizer, is the best. Oh my lord. So when we're talking about the prep of skin, you're gonna want to know what kind of products you're using for your skin type. Always make sure you're using the right products for your skin type. Like I said, my skin type is sensitive. I would categorize it as sensitive. I have eczema on my face. I don't have it right now, but sometimes when it's really cold outside, I tend to get near my smile lines, stuff like that. Nothing too extreme. I try to take care of it, put oil, cortisone, all that stuff. Just make sure you're taking care of your skin. So I'd say this moisturizer has a very high ratio of water to oil, so I think that's why it's really good for my skin.
Okay, so what I'm saying in this clip is how to find a moisturizer for your skin type. If you have normal skin, you're going to want to go with a moisturizer with more water ratio to oil, and dry, you're going to want more oil to water. And for oily skin, you're going to want a moisturizer with the water-based consistency.
So I'm also going to be using oil just because it's starting to get cold out in Chicago. That's where I'm from, and today it's a little bit colder, so I'm just using this NYX Hydra Touch Oil Primer. I love this oil. I think it really hydrates the skin. Also, I just let all of this set into my skin for about 10 minutes before I put on any primer. So I also let the primer sit in for about 5 minutes. And with primer, you're just gonna want to use a primer that's right for your skin. Like if you have redness and you want to combat that, you're gonna use a primer for that. I have a little bit of redness on my blemishes, and you're just gonna take care of all of that before you put on foundation, and I'll show you guys that. So let's just let this sit in for a second, and when I'm finished, I'm gonna go ahead and use the Smashbox Original Photo Finish Smooth and Blur Primer. So I use a blurring primer just because I feel like I have a lot of texture on my face, and I have a lot of, you know, my skin naturally has these indentations in it, so I just kind of want to smooth them over and make my pores less prominent. Oh, I'm trying to put these eye patches on, but I feel like they're supposed to be this way. They're supposed to be this way. It's not, like, they're not working. I give this a 0. It's called Earth Therapeutics Pure Gel Under Eyes. Got them from Ulta. Do not recommend. I just moisturize my lips because we're gonna be putting on lipstick today. You're gonna make sure you want to prep everything, including your eyes. So the important thing about prepping your skin right is it's gonna help the longevity of your makeup and just really help how the makeup sits on your face. So since I have really sensitive dry skin, I like to moisturize very heavily because I don't want like a matte concealer or a matte foundation to look very dry on my skin. So when your face is moisturized, it's gonna kind of soak into that moisturized skin and have it looking really good. Okay, so the first thing I did to my eyes was I primed it with some eyeshadow primer just to help the longevity of my eyeshadow. I used these you know what they're called, like little eye protectors, so when you have fallout it just kind of falls onto there and doesn't ruin your base. I already primed, and we're gonna be using a Morphe 35C Everyday Chic palette. This is huge and it looks like this. I didn't really use it. I'm going in with a pink liner, kind of a neutral look, so I thought this palette would be perfect. And that's another thing, like if anybody, like even you, like you're just doing your own makeup or you're an MUA, you kind of just want to figure out the direction of the makeup look that you're going in. And so see, brushes like this make it super easy to work on your eyelid all over. Kind of just gonna go all over the lid up to the brow bone, because as you can see, you can already tell a difference just with the base shade, and it's gonna help to make blending a lot easier when you go into the crease shade. And so this is just the simple, you know, close to my skin tone shade, so that's always good to remember, like use a base shade that's close to your skin tone. And I feel like this one is really nice, and it just kind of is the right shade to kind of be a little bit lighter and open up the eye. I'm gonna use this one. You're just gonna go ahead and go into the crease like so. These brushes make it very easy for you to kind of blend in that crease. So you can already see my crease is defined with that one shade. Kind of just lightly took the color, kind of took the excess off, wiped some on my hand, and I'm just going back in very lightly with the color and it's doing justice. I love this palette. The thing about Morphe palettes is they're a formula where it's easy to use as a beginner because it doesn't have as much pigment. So when you're wanting to do like a bold look with it, you're gonna kind of have to pack it on there, if that makes sense. I love Morphe palettes for more natural looks, which is what I'm going for today. And so since I have like almond eyes, very small eyes, I'm kind of just slanting the shadow out. So it can match my wing that I put on later. If you want, you can just grab clean brush and blend it out like that, which I find to be easier than applying more product than you need. I'm gonna kind of just clean it up. And another thing with makeup is, like, for photos, you're gonna kind of want to just have everything even, make sure everything looks proportional. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of matching the wing of the eyeshadow. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of green concealer around my nose. I think my skin looks fairly good. As in terms of redness, my skin could be worse. So this is just combating redness around my nose. Conceal and powder. So again, use a little bit of concealer. You don't want your makeup to look cakey. So you're gonna go in very thin layers. And already this looks pretty good, I think. So I'm gonna keep it like that. Also, I'm using like lighting, so it kind of helps me. Just make sure you're somewhere when you're doing your makeup with good lighting. You know, shade open. There's no sun today, but some powder, and make sure I powder it so it can go ahead and stay under foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and correct my under eye discoloration right around here. I just have like redness and like that little bit of green right there in the inner corner. And I'm gonna take a peach corrector and just go ahead, apply a very small amount. And that already makes a difference. You don't, like I said, you don't want to kick on things because, you know, that's no good. You're just kind of gonna go in with light layers. And I think that looks good for me. To conceal, I'm gonna be using this MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I don't know if I'm telling you what I'm using now. Yes. Also, I like the Kylie Cosmetics Skin Concealer. I've been using this one for most of the time. This is kind of just like a natural, it's like neutral to my skin. So I like this one because it's a little bit more hydrating than the MAC one. We are going to be using just a little bit of MAC. Sometimes MAC is a little bit drying. You don't need a lot for MAC anyways. It's really pigmented. And so I'm going to use this concealer brush. Go ahead and conceal. So I'm going to be using Huda Beauty's Easy Bake. What is it called? Setting powder. I'm just gonna take a little bit on this brush, and I like these brushes because they're kind of small. I mean, they're small and they get into like the little crevices. I'm using like a banana shade because I want to kind of brighten up my skin. And in photography pictures, you're going to want to make sure that you have more matte skin. Like I said, if you have dry skin, just make sure you really moisturize and prep your skin right. You're going to want to have more of a matte center. I'm just using this Real Techniques foundation brush, which I really love. Look at that. It's like flawless application. And this foundation is really good as well. You can already see the difference. So I just kind of used a red concealer to correct my blemishes, and now I'm putting on some concealer. Oh my god, and that looks so. And I'm gonna be mixing foundations. I'm also gonna use Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Go in because I feel like this foundation gives me a little bit more color. And I like to use the Beauty Blender for this part because I feel like it kind of just makes it look whoa, and it gives you a glow. Hence luminous glow. So pretty. I love this and how it sits on my skin. You're gonna want to make sure, especially the baking, you're contouring in the right places. So right here, I'm gonna contour in a slanted kind of situation because I have a little bit more rounded cheeks and everybody's face is different, so you're gonna contour to, you know, depending what your face shape is. Plant the brush like so to contour. Now for baking, I just want to put a little bit. Using a brush to bake. Lightly, just take it off real quick. That's it. Bake right in the T-zone where I get oily. You know, bring your skin back to life with some bronzer. I look very pale right now, kind of, so just use it. Like if the sun was tanning you, normally it would come from an angle like this, down onto your cheeks, to your forehead. I love this bronzer. It's Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. The only one I use for my skin type. For my skin tone.
So right here I'm just contouring the bridges of my nose and make sure that I connect it to the brow bone as well. So right here I just blended away the contour lines with my powder brush, and I made sure to go ahead and wipe off the little bake that I used. And of course, you gotta make sure that you set it with a setting spray. I was using Badescu, anything to go ahead and rehydrate your face. Okay, so now I'm going into the brows and I'm using a pomade. Using Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm going in with their brow brush. I love their brow brush. It's my go-to favorite. I'm also using a powder afterwards, but when I'm going in with both, I make sure that I take excess product off on the palm of my hand, just to make sure that I don't get really dark brows and you know, have control over what product is going on my brows, and make sure you're always blending as well. Here I'm just taking the opportunity to kind of clean up my brows. So now I'm just going in with a bit more concealer to highlight that brow bone, and I'm blending it just with my finger. I also go ahead and just blend and conceal the top of my brow as well, just to give it a more defined shape. Then I just make sure that I finish off with the matte powder to set that concealer.
And now I'm gonna go in with some Colourpop liner. I don't know what shade this is. I think it's called Ducky.
Going in with the liner, I just follow the natural line of my eyelid and I wing it out. Also following that shadow line. And I love the tip of that specific Colourpop liner. It's just like the best I've ever, used. I think it's really easy to use, and I'm just cleaning the wing up with a Q-tip, which is always helpful. So next, I'm just gonna go in with some powder blush.
I feel like this brings everything together. I'm also using a Colourpop. It's called Vanilla Cream Truffle palette. It looks like this. I love this palette. It's so cute, and I'm using the darkest shade in it. So again, I'm kind of just cleaning this up. Clean it up. And wipe it away like so.
Okay, so I didn't end up putting lipstick on, but I did put some lip gloss. I'll show you guys some pictures. But whenever you put on lipstick for a photo shoot, you're gonna wanna use a lip liner to define your lips.
What do you guys think? So I just put on some Tarte lashes. I think they're in the style, Heartbreaker, because you already know I'm a heartbreaker. I'm just kidding. So I put on some white eyeliner on the waterline to kind of open up my eyes, since I do have smaller eyes. Tip, if you have kind of more, a little bit wider, bigger eyes, you're gonna want to use a waterline color that's darker, so that can kind of contrast and make them look smaller if that's the thing you're going for. But this is the finished look. I just popped on the eyeliner, popped on my outfit or whatever, and I made sure that I kind of went over the jawline with some powder. I set my whole makeup with setting spray powder, everything like that. So yeah, I'm still gonna go in with the powder just because for photos you want it to be like a matte center. And so that was all. Thanks for watching this video. If you want me to do more, just let me know. I'm gonna link down everything down below, and I'll see you guys later.